Now, they often ask you two types of questions, and here's the first one. So the first type of question they often ask you is, how many significant figures are there in these numbers here? Now, whenever we're looking at this, we always want to go back to our rules and think about which ones are significant figures or not. This one here, this first one, I see all of these are non-zero. So I've got 7 and a 2 there. So I know that all of those are significant. So this one would have 2. And we can write an abbreviation for this. I can write SF, which is short for 2 significant figures. Okay? What about this one here? Well, I can see that 3 and 6, they're automatically significant. What about this 0 here? Well, this 0, it's between significant digits, 3 and 6. So that one actually is also significant. So that one would have 3 there. All right? And anytime I'm going through this, I do want to be careful of all the rules that I have, because I see these zeros, and I might want to think that they're significant, but what does rule number 3 say again, right? Rule number 3 says that leading zeros are never significant. So these are never going to be important if they're at the front. If they're the leaders of this number here, they're never going to be significant, but only this 2 is here. So there's actually only one significant figure there, okay? E, same thing. I know that that's not significant. These 5s I do know are. What about this 0? Well, this 0 is in between other significant digits, so that one is. And this here 0 is a trailing 0, right? Because it's a trailing 0, it's at the end of the number, and it's also on the right-hand side of a decimal, so that is significant. All right, so there's 4 significant figures there. Last one. All right, so we've got F here, and automatically, again, I know all of these non-zero ones are significant. This 0, though, a little bit trickier. So again, just thinking about, okay, what are my definitions? Well, because this 0 is in between other significant figures, that one also is. So actually all of these are then. So there's 6 significant figures then, okay? So that's one type of question you might see. So the other type of question they'll commonly ask is to round something to a certain number of significant figures. In this case, they ask you to round it to 2 significant figures. What you want to do with a question like this is you want to be able to, in your final result, have this number of significant figures. So in my final answer for these, I want 2. I also want to use the normal rounding rules that I usually use. So let's look at the first one. 7,532. Right now this has 4 significant figures. But if I was to round it, right, I would start writing out the digits I have until I have that number of significant figures. So here, let's write out the first 2. After that, then I'm going to stop, and I'm going to say, okay, I only want 2 significant figures in my answer. So the rest, I'm just going to replace with 0, because these aren't significant. Trailing, but they're on the right-hand side of a decimal. And I'll say that that's just the 2 significant figures. So again, using that SF as a little shorthand there. What about this next one? 2.687. Well, I can still keep going, right, over a decimal, that's fine. That is significant, that 2 there. Now, be careful with this 6, because that will give me my second significant figure. But what's the digit after the 6, right? It's an 8. So usually you'd have to round up, and that's exactly what I'm going to do here. That will be 2.7, and then I'm going to stop there, right? 2.7, that has 2 significant figures there, all right? I'm not going to put any zeros at the end there, because they would actually be significant. Remember rule number 4. All right, next one. C, remember these leading zeros are never significant, so I can write those out fine. Then I'm going to write out 5, 1. That gives me my 2 significant figures, 5 and 1 there. That 0, because it's leading, it's not significant, right? And last one here, we've got 99.34. Again, I just want to be careful of any rounding rules I have to do, but in this case, it's not too bad because these first 2, those are my significant figures, so I'll just write out 99, and that's all I have. So I don't need to worry about those decimals over there, right, because I've got my 2 significant figures. So that's what this idea of significant figures is. It's another way of rounding numbers, and we are often asked these 2 types of questions. How many significant figures are there, and can we round to a certain number of significant figures? Okay.